They say ladies first, but this time I think I'll start.
I'd like to tell my story from being a daughter of God.
My mom is a fighter, and she wants the best for everyone. So basically, my mom's superpower as a mother-in-law would be someone who does not give up on anyone.
And that would have been my mother-in-law superpower because, she wanted to help everybody.
Hello and welcome to Wisdom for Exploit with me, Bola Amore. With me today are some fantastic guests, and our discussion will revolve around the important topic of mother-in-law's behaviors in marriage. Before my guests introduce themselves, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and remember to click the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you. Guests, kindly introduce yourself.
Say ladies first, but this time I think I'll start.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Kayode Adediga, and I'm an IT professional with 2 decades of experience supporting multiple businesses across Africa and Europe on this digital transformation projects. I currently work for an American company as a solutions architect in the UK. However, beyond my career, I am deeply committed to community service. I serve as a children's champion with Africa. Africa is a short form of, is an acronym for Africa Unite Against Child Abuse, and it's a UK charity. So I support, I work in the position of a children's champion, championing parenting courses, training and stuff like that. And aside this, I'm also a church admin at the CAC King's Realm in Middlesbrough in the UK. And of course, more importantly, also professionally, I'm a director in the Institute of Business Analysis in the UK. I'm passionate about faith, family, and creating spaces where people can go, where they can connect and thrive. And it's a privilege for me to join Pastor Mrs. Bola Amore and of course, Madam N. I invited you on this program today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show today. How are you today? Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Over to you, my other guest.
Okay, my name is Anne Ayobadijo. I'd like to tell my story from being a daughter of God because there's nothing that can complete you, whether in your professional story, without being a daughter of Christ or a son of Christ, and the mandate, the call he has given me to restore bridges and paths to dwell in. And I'm part of an eternal family of Jesus Christ, working tirelessly, devoting my time to that reconciliation that Jesus Christ came to do for us. So if I say to you that I'm a care professional and I have been practicing care for more than 6 years, yes, it's a very good place to be. But for my own very core being, I am a daughter and a follower of Christ. And I like to share that good news, that story, his history in my story. Because I say to people now that what is more prominent in our day now is the human Bible. We read the Bible, we study the Bible, but we live the Bible. So that has cut across all facets of my life. That principle has been guiding me in my relationship with my friends, family, and every institution I come across. Because at that point, let me just say, it has guided my relationship. And I'm very, very, very privileged to be part of this call to talk about our relationship with our mother. And permit me to say, it cuts across everywhere. What we'll do with just the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law side of things. So it's nice to be part of the privileged crew right now. Uncle Kayode and Pastor Bola, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining us on this wonderful talk show. Thank you. I'm happy to have Our focus today is mother-in-law's behavior. It's not only women that have issue with mother-in-law, men do as well. So my guest, the introduction question is, if your mother-in-law had a superpower, what will it be? Vice versa, if you have a superpower as a mother-in-law, what would that be?
I think I would say my mother-in-law, her superpower would have been to give everybody that experience of the seventh day rest, what it is to be in the rest of God. And that would have been my mother-in-law superpower, because she wanted to help everybody. She wanted to help everybody that came her way. She positioned herself as a solution. Even when she didn't have the solution. I think her greatest weakness is overlooking for the solution. And that was where I came in as a daughter-in-law, to remind her that even though we are positioned as a solution, we need to hear from God on all matters, how to judge the matter, what position are we supposed to take. And that shaped our relationship. In fact, she's always told me that I've always been different. And I think that was the position I wanted to take. Permit me to say I've always been a Ruth and a Naomi girl. So I wanted a relationship with my mother-in-law in that daughter-mother relationship. So I removed the in-law and I just took the mother. So it was my mother-in-law with us. And we did a lot of funny things together, because she lived with me for a year and a half. She's gone to rest this year. And it did hurt, because I felt I should have been there. But she reminded me that in her time of greatest need, I was there for her. And that was the delight she had, knowing that she was going to rest, that her children were there for her at her time of need. She did, and I said to myself, even when I wanted to cry over the matter, I said, what would this woman want? And I heard in a very soft voice, she would never have wanted us to go through any stress over her. And this was just the best way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kayode.
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, if I were to think of what kind of superpower my mother-in-law has or would have, I think I would classify as superpower as a bridge builder and a meek person. So she's someone that does not like, she hates to see things in this area, especially across the family lines. She's a bridge builder, and she's actually at peace with almost everyone. I've never come across someone as meek as she is. Even my own mother is not as meek as it is, as the truth. My mom is nice, she's good, she's loving, but she can be a very hard person. She wants, she is a fighter. But my mother-in-law, she's not a fighter. Very meek, at peace with people. And I think it does the magic a lot of times. It brings, when things are in this area, somehow, these people are that person, current and stuff like that. We always, one way or the other, you find that in the mix of it, and she brings peace back to the situation and make sure that the bridge is created to resolve the issues. That's the kind of mother-in-law I am.
That's fine. So what will your sister say in their own marriage now, if mommy should be, we should be the other way around?
Okay. If my mom is a fighter, and she wants the best for everyone. So basically, my mom's superpower as a mother-in-law would be someone who does not give up on anyone.
Okay.
She does not. She can sell her eyes. So anything to make sure that she pushes you to succeed. It doesn't matter. Even if the whole world does not believe in you or in whatever she's thinking, she will keep pushing for you. And she does not give up. Even people are saying, this person is, forget about it. She starts by that's the type of people.
Oh, thank you for that contribution. So what is the funniest thing your mother-in-law did in your home?
Okay, so I like I'll take a key from, or a word from what Uncle Coyote said. It's like our mothers were forged in iron, and still they don't give up. So my mother, so I was pregnant, and in pregnancy I was very ill. I'd gone to the hospital. Back home now, you go to the hospital, they'll start from the simplest. Even when you're in the most grievous of pain, they'll start from the simplest. So I wasn't getting better. So a friend of mine was like, look, there's a way you take, herbs that, it helps to detox your system, and it is safe for your baby, because all the recommendations that are coming from the hospital was, it didn't have anything, that would promote my baby's health. Let me just put it that way. So I a friend turned sister came to prepare it for me. And my mother went to the kitchen after the preparation. They had served me, and I just noticed you. I was like, where is she? And I saw her coming out with a mug of the hot herbal tea. And I said, Mommy, is for pregnant women. She said, my daughter, what is good for pregnant women is good for older women too. So she said in language, Masomo, me, don't forget I'm dear. So what I did was, with wisdom, I just told them to increase the quantity of the tea to accommodate her. But what other people would have thought, why would she go and do that? No, it was a simple language between the two of us.
Okay.
And I think that was one of the funniest things I remember her doing, that till today, it's every time I remember her, it gives me joy.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really nice.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. What about Mr. Coyote?
Well, my mother-in-law is not someone that is she's an introvert of some sort, but again, just thinking down the line of what kind of funny experiences I've had with her. Not so many, but she's someone that is she's open to learning a lot, basically, and she's always asking questions. She's especially the fact that she travels abroad and she's sitting with us at home in the UK. So if some things are strange to her, of course, these are old women. What is this one that you buy? What is it looking like? The kind of questions she asks. My kids, who are, still very young kids, Grandma, you're supposed to know this. So I don't know. Yeah, explain to me. That's the kind of person she is. Sometimes when this kind of drama happens between her and our grandchildren, it happens in a very funny way that we are observing, we just kind of laugh it off and stuff like that. Well, it shows the kind of person she is, that regardless of the age, she's humble enough to say, I don't know, I want to learn. I'm inquisitive, I want to know more and stuff like that. And that, of course, helps people like us also to remain humble and say, as younger as we are, we also need to take some learning and keep for that. No matter how old you are, you keep learning and you keep being humble to learn from others. That's why, even if you are older than them.
Okay, that's fine. As your mother-in-law, at some point, maybe when you cook and said, no, I can't eat what a man cook, it has to be the woman that has to cook. Because I remember when we were growing up, my mom's mother-in-law, which is my grandmom, when a man cook, he will say, no, I'm not going to eat what a man cook. it has to be the woman cooking it. Have you ever, because for my own sake now, my mother-in-law, we don't live together. We didn't live together. So it's that when I visit, I just visit them. So we don't really have drama, all those stuff. She's a nice gentlewoman. She's going to be with the Lord as well. So me, I don't have much experience about mother-in-law's case. So, but in this case, I'm just trying to travel back to my own mom now. Like my grandmom is like, I don't want to eat what men cook, or maybe sometimes we cook yam and egg. You say, no, I don't eat yam and egg. This is what I eat. And when everybody is sitting, say, I want to eat. Have you ever had a mother-in-law? Maybe your mother-in-law did something like that.
No, funny enough, no. I don't think so. So she's never. She might have, what we call cravings at some point, and so I wish to eat this. But it's never a case of, oh no, that I don't want to eat. I've had to cook a few times, and she's had the privilege of eating the food as well. So there's never been a case where she says, no, I don't want to eat. I can't eat the part that you're cooking, blah blah blah. No, especially now the fact that she understands that it's coming from a place of love. It's she sees that as a what do you call it? It sees it as part of the love practice, was to say, okay, your son-in-law is cooking for you, or is making something for you, or is providing something for you, and she's appreciative of it, even if it's not in the best of the food. You can come later with some improvement to say, okay, next time because I've added this and that, but definitely she's still okay. I'll try. No, well done. That's it.
Well, okay, that's fine. Let's move on. So how many times has your mother-in-law rearranged your kitchen?
To be honest with you, because of the kind of love relationship we had as a mother and daughter, I had the privilege of using my mother-in-law's pots. Okay. When she was coming, she was like, oh, my daughter, you mentioned to me you didn't have a big pot. I said, yes, they don't make the pots like they used to. Remember, I don't know if anybody remembers the tower aluminium pots of those days, that if you slap somebody, their life is hanging on the balance. They no longer make those pots like that. So I was whining and lamenting that, mommy, those pots are not existing. And do you know what she did? When she was coming, she brought her pots.
Wow.
And said, oh, my daughter, I'd like you to have this. And, she goes into my kitchen, and I think the only thing we communicated better, or now say we communicated better, because every day you keep communicating better with everybody. She was ill and she forgets sometimes, it makes her forget, especially when she's a little bit stressed out on some things, because I used to tell her she's an overthinker. I think it just comes with the territory, and I used to try to encourage her to stop overthinking. So I was pregnant. She wanted to warm food for me, and she forgot she put it on the burner, and it burnt.
Wow!
So she felt so bad about it, and she became defensive. Like, you people don't want me to do it. I said, no, mommy. You know that we are happy for you to do anything for us. But, we need to manage this better, because I know you love us and you would not want any harm to come to us. So if this had escalated to burning the whole house, she said, no, I don't want anything to happen to you, my children. No, okay. Anything people want, I will do. And she's, with that encouragement, she stopped going there, because she understood that because of the forgetfulness, she can't do the things she used to do before. And I think that's where, understanding comes in, because sometimes you misunderstand that they're probably fighting with you, but they're being defensive, that why can't they do the things they used to do before? They're literally fighting with themselves because of the health challenges they are going through. They want to still, prove to themselves that they can do those things.
Mm.
And I had to tell her in love that, look, you've raised us to do these things for you. Let us do it. She said, hey, I'll become too lazy. I said, I said, you didn't raise lazy children. You still allowed us to do it. So technically, you're not lazy. You're just enjoying the fruit of your labor. So we had conversations like that.
That's
and
it.
Again, I'm actually a Ruth and Naomi girl, which really helped to shape my relationship with her. Anytime she went to my kitchen to do anything, she was free to do it. When she leaves, I'll put things back the way I want, because that brings peace. I always wanted to come from the position of peace. So I steered and navigated our relationship in that position of peace. And everybody, when she came, in fact, guess what? I was the one that told my husband to go and bring her when she was very ill. Because my husband was like, hey, we can take care of her there. I said, no. We keep hearing her voice. We can't see her physically to gauge what her needs are. So that was how much of a relationship I had with my mother-in-law. And one of the things I didn't do to myself was preempt my mother-in-law that, oh, this is where she will be. Because there's always an assumption from daughters that, they said mother-in-laws are like this. Right? So I am ready for whatever this person is bringing my way. You're forgetting you're also going to be a mother-in-law.
Sure. True.
So I wanted to train myself, and I also wanted to observe. So anything that happened, whether it was a miscommunication, I kept saying to myself, I'm learning how not to be. And I'm also learning some wisdom as a daughter. She's taught me some valuable things. She was, if I'm permitted to say, she was a lover girl. She loved her husband. I could almost say blindly. And she made me understand what love is. So really, with my mother, and I find it hard to say mother-in-law because she called me daughter, I called her mother, so I couldn't even understand. So it became foreign to me when I'm in the midst of people and they say mother-in-law. I tried to reset my head back to that level, but I can't go back. So we called ourselves mommy, daughter, mother, daughter. That's it, and it was that simple. So yeah, kitchen, there was nowhere she didn't have access to, because even she respected your space. She would knock on the door before she comes into your room to ask any question. She was just like Uncle Kayode said, she asked questions. I don't understand it. My daughter, you people, I'll leave you people with your technology. Don't worry. And you see, she was always coming to me with her phone. Hey, my daughter, I don't understand. I think I pressed something.
It's the same.
Wow, that's really good.
So yes, that was the relationship I had with her with the kitchen activities.
What about Mr. K?
Well, my mother-in-law is someone that is very active as well. And even if you tell her, leave that one, we'll get it sorted later. By the time you say Jack Robson and you turn your face and turn back, the whole thing is sorted. It's very simple one is plates. We have a washing machine, and she does not know how to operate it even till now. She doesn't even want to. Plate have been used, things have been done in the kitchen. Don't worry. I just want to get one or two things sorted. When I come back, I'm gonna reach them in the washing machine, and then dishwasher, and then get them washed. She will say, sometimes she'll say, okay, no problem. And by the time I go upstairs or something to do one or two and come back downstairs, all the plates are washed and arranged. And I'm like, but Grandma, I told you not to do this. My worry is here. Shama with me.
Yeah.
Wonderful mother-in-law.
I'm telling you, she's pretty much like myself and my wife, because we are very in terms of hygiene, we are very, very. We take it personally. The house must be always clean and things must be in order. So it kind of connects naturally. So she herself has that kind of this thing has been used just now. This minute, get it sorted and get it off the way. As against okay, let's pipe it up and come and do that. So that kind of we kind of have some alignment in some of those areas. So which actually, in one way or the other, makes it good for me. But sometimes I feel like grandma is LRS. She still does not rest. She still goes ahead and does those things.
Well, they never rest. They never rest.
That's really good. I think I want to say something in regard to what and you mentioned something about mother-in-law. You see, some people will say they are not nice, and some people the way they behave, they don't want to learn. I think that is wisdom you are using in order to have that good relationship with your mother-in-law. I remember when we were in secondary school, there was a lady where we were on lunch break that time, and this lady said, so we're just talking about marriage and all that. And this lady said, you know what, I don't want to meet mother-in-law at home because you mentioned that you two, you're going to be a mother-in-law one day. So this lady mentioned it, it said, she mentioned that, you know what, I don't want to have mother-in-law. I want my mother-in-law to die long time before I got married. And I was sitting down there, I said, no, I mentioned the lady's name, and I said, no, you don't say that. Because if you are wishing your mother-in-law dead before you marry them, before you get into the man's life, what about if you get married and you have male child? You're going to get male child. You're still going to be a mother-in-law yourself. So what goes round comes round, isn't it? So some people, you see, is the mindset. And even, okay, I'm going to the next question. Maybe that will answer this. I don't want to say it now because there are some mother-in-law truly that, you know what, there is nothing you can do. You can't satisfy them. And this goes to the question about how. So, okay, let me put it this way. What is the best way to cope with a narcissistic mother-in-law?
That's a deep question. So I would start from where you said you had a friend who wished her mother-in-law dead. And I said, oh, would your daughter... So I had a friend who said, oh, would you like your daughter-in-law to wish you dead too? And she was so like... She's like, hey, why would you talk like that? I said, why are you getting angry? I just asked the question. You wished your own mother-in-law dead. It's a cycle.
Yes.
If they wish you dead too, and I think it gave her food for thought. Like she became quiet. Like she thought about it that, hang on, I'm also a woman myself. So I think everybody like detaches themselves from that thing until it gets to, their reality.
Yeah.
So when you talk about a narcissistic mother-in-law, I think I would like to come from a point where there are certain set principles that you use to relate with everybody. It's just like saying, how do you handle a difficult customer? How do you handle it different? You find out the first thing is, I can always ask the Holy Spirit, how do you want me to handle this situation? Because sometimes it's not by logic. How would you like me to handle the situation? And that helps to guide how you would handle the situation. I will come from the angle of when I was doing my IT, I had this really difficult, when I say difficult, boss. And when somebody you can't just see you, she just doesn't like you. There's nothing you do. She's just not happy. And then she wore a perfume, and I was like, wow, Ma, you're wearing 1881 Cerruti. She turned back and looked at me like, girl, how do you know that perfume? And that was it. And we became friends till I left that organization. So sometimes I've seen difficult. So it's not just about mother-in-law. Now, I think I will come from the position of women. Because sometimes we don't even support each other.
True.
We don't. Okay, guess what? You say narcissistic mother-in-law. Let me help you put it better. How would you deal with a narcissistic mother? your own mother, your birth mother, you will deal with her with love, from the position of love. So I can say to you confidently, in just the context we are, some mother-in-laws are way loving than even your own birth mother.
Sure.
So if you're talking about narcissistic mother-in-law, there's always something. Remember, they gave birth to your husband. They nurture them to the point where they are. There must be something good about them. Because they could have harmed them and you would never have met your husband. So there must be something there to love. It's just that when we say narcissistic, there are just some women that don't have emotions. They do it by principle. Their principle is you wake up, you tidy up, you this, you that, and that's it. And in your own position, if you can do it for them, do it for them. Remember, love is not about you expecting the person to reward you. It's expecting God to reward you. There's nobody, I mean, narcissistic is a word, really. But we can exchange it for somebody who is principled. They're just some mother-in-laws that are more principled than others. I will tell you, my aunt, my dad's sister, is similar to this word you use, narcissistic. Okay. But when you go, mommy, you are looking smoking hot. You look take away. You are like Indomie. She's like, hey, I'm looking hot. I'm looking hot. But boy, she is hard. She is hard. In fact, people say she's difficult to live with. But if you pay her, she's somebody that loves compliments. So you pay her compliments. I think everybody has a reality you can actually communicate with. You just need to find it.
Okay. Thank you for that input or insight. Mr. K.
Well, I think she already said most of the things I wanted to say. Right? That's deep wisdom coming out from that pouch. I just to reiterate and confirm most of the things she said. So I'd like to also use an example of my work life. I used to have a Greek boss about 8 years ago. When I got introduced to the boss, people who were in the department told me personally that he was a very hard nut to crack. Someone that, nobody likes him, to be candid. And I saw it. I read the room, felt everything. Nobody really liked him because it was very straightforward. He tells you the truth. He does not like you. He likes you. He wants to go by the word, blah, blah, blah. There's no emotion. That's the kind of person. As a matter of fact, his mantra, when he wakes up in the morning and you go to his office, you see that, good morning, let the stress begin. Good morning, everyone. Let the stress begin. I have to ask him one day, I said, boss, what's this? He said, business is a stress. So you pick your stress and you tackle it. When he explained it, if I can, that's for another day, I understood what he meant later. But the thing is, till today, I've worked with about 12 bosses in my life. He's still one of the best I've ever worked with. He's retired back in Greece, and recently we got talking, and he said, if I have the time, if I can travel to Greece, I should let him know. We should hang out and have some fun together and stuff like that. What happened to me, what made our relationship flourish and was the best ever, was the fact that, just like Madam said earlier, I actually studied him and I decided to reach a compromise. In every relationship, whether mother-in-law, father-in-law, wife, husband, no matter it is, for you to have a smooth, rolling relationship with anybody, there must be a compromise. And a compromise does not mean you concede everything. A compromise does not mean the person considers everything. So you must come to the table one way or the other. It can be something that is done consciously on both ends, or sometimes unconsciously you sow the seed of compromise to the next person. And if by that the person can, Just like she used an example of, in quotes, like we say in Nigeria, you press the mumu button of the person first, and the person gets soft. That's how I work my whole entire my bulk of my work life. I did a lot of jobs that required me to be at the mercy of people. You're never at my mercy. So it required me to build interpersonal relationships a lot. So how do I build it? I go to them. I establish interest in them one way or the other. I can walk into a senior manager's office or a director's office, and I know I want to request for something, maybe an approval for a resource that is not even my personal thing, it's something business-wise. I just start a conversation on personal note. How are you doing today, sir? The weekend? If I know the guy, this guy is a football person, he likes football. We talk about his club, we talk about the match. By the time we're done talking about it, I'm not a key football person, but I try to learn as much as I go on the job. Your interest, then I play to it. And by the time we're done talking for a few minutes or thereabout, then I go to what I want, explain why, and then how you can connect with it. And then I bruise your elbow. I try to rub your elbow with that. Without you, I don't do anything for a year. I beg just a work my ministry. And just the things are flowing. And people are shocked. Why are you finding it easy to get these things done? Because I have studied people, learn to understand their mumu button, and learn to also make a compromise. So there are certain things that, I can't get everything. If I can get half of it, I'm done. I'm okay with that, but I'll sort myself out. And that's how you can build a fantastic relationship, both with your mother-in-law, father-in-law, and of course, across the lines with other people as well.
That's fantastic because it's true because a lot of people you pick for, oh, my mother-in-law is this, my mother. I can't speak for everybody, but do you have a good relationship? Because if you don't have a good relationship with people, you're going to have trouble. Even our parents, if something is not, what? Let me even say this. I used to tell people, I said, you see, when me and my mommy were fighting, that's the best time I life. Because mommy will not send me an errand. So that period that mommy baby is angry with me and say, oh, this and that time she won't send me anything. She just be looking at me to say, thank God, I'm not going to be what. You understand? So as I say, but then later one will come and say, okay, go and do that one for me, go and do this one for me. So I think what we do is that relationship matters a lot. Relationship in workplace has to give, relationship with your parent, relationship with even your friends. That's a wonderful insight. Thank you so much. Okay, has she ever compared you to someone else, and how did you undo it? Has your mother-in-law compare you with somebody else, and how did you undo it?
Honestly, I think it's in their generation to do comparison. However, I can't recall my mother comparing me with anybody. She might have said one or two things that probably didn't agree with me, but just the way I treated my own mother, like to hold my, even if I was angry, I'll just smile or walk away, or I would approach her and say, look, I wasn't happy about what you said. I think it would have been better if you had looked at it this way. It was just, like I said, the mindset from the beginning was I'll handle it. My own mother, I think if you come from, as a Yoruba daughter, when your mother speaks to you, she doesn't just speak to you in parable. She adds all the pepper, salt, the complete seasoning, and throw it at you with her words. So again, sometimes, we are used to these things that, they speak in anger and it's coming from a place of anger. Once you know that this is coming from a place of anger, or however, it is, and then there's a way you also correct in love. It's not because you're my mother-in-law. No, because you're my mother, I'd actually tell you how I feel about what you said. Same way I'll treat my mother, my biological mother. And I never had one too many times when I was in that position to be angry about everything. In fact, I think one of the things which Uncle Kayode mentioned is this: they are not being restless, not being able to sit down, and you are like, okay, leave it alone. Before you just say, oh, let me just go and even use the restroom and come back, the work is done. And you're like, look, she said, look, this is a thing that we are used to. Like, that's the word they keep using. We are used to it. We are used to it. So you are the one to, have that wisdom to say, okay, let me leave it alone. Because if it's going to stay, and then you actually know when something is actually tilting towards a quarrel, you can tell that this will bring about a quarrel. So you avoid it. You approach it in a different manner, because I always have this 2-second rule. If something is being said to me, let me just breathe in and breathe out. I walk away from it. Think about it before I come to it. If I let all loose and quarrel, what will be my gain? I haven't gained anything. I've just made matters worse. And sometimes you are actually in a position to know better. So you always come from that better position. I think that's the way I would approach that question.
Thank you for that. What about Uncle K?
I think for me, thinking about it, I don't think there's been any time when my mother-in-law has openly, or directly in any form compare me with anybody. And if there will be any comparison, I think might be a few, for commendation sake or something like that. However, that's not to say that I've not gotten comparisons and criticism in form of comparison from people. Once in a while, even from my wife. Why don't you should have been like this person? But one thing that stands out as a person for me is that I try to let everybody, whoever does that around me, even if it's not for me, to know that everybody has a different personality. We all cannot behave or act the same way. And then our personality emanates from the fact that we have different bundles of experiences and background, and all of this, they tack up to make us who we are and make us to react and behave in certain ways that are different from other people. And if you have certain expectation of me, that is stemming from your own personal experience. It doesn't make it completely the only right way to do things. And of course, on the basis of that, it helps you to it helps the people around you to also manage expectations around, this one, no, come on, especially even for my kids. So this boy should be like this, but no, he can't be like this. But he has his own different destiny, his own. Let him be who he will be, let him go into what God wants him to be, and that's it. And that's exactly how my own space has always been, as it were. I've had my mom also a couple of times. I should have been the pastor. Everybody cannot be a pastor, for instance.
It's true.
I think we're equally guilty of also the comparisons ourselves. So
exactly,
nobody is perfect. I think I've compared my younger brother, in certain ways, and I think he made me understand. Oh, sis, you're actually doing it this way. Sometimes it stays in us, in our subconscious. We just need to come to that consciousness that look, being compared, not in it can be toxic. It can be toxic. So I agree with you, Uncle Kayode, that it's not a perfect situation, but we only try to make the imperfect perfect.
Yeah, it's true, because actually this question is coming from the angle of when you have a lot of like a brother-in-laws, maybe the woman has a lot of men, maybe the mother-in-law gave birth to about 4 boys, only 1 girl, and the 4 boys, they will marry now and say, this person wife doesn't do that, that person wife doesn't do that, how come your own is different? You understand? I think some people have that kind of experience, so that's the angle we're looking at this criticism. I know, you said that even if you compare your brother with your sister, you compare yourself with yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you. So does she give unsolicited advice, your mother-in-law? And if so, what is the most significant piece of advice you have received from her?
Wow. I think it's normal in our society to receive unsolicited advice. I'll give you a funny one.
Okay.
I'll go back to the time I was pregnant because that was the most time I spent with her.
Okay.
And so I was always having this heat in my tummy. My tummy was always very hot, and back home in Nigeria, the heat is already dealing with your head, and then you're now pregnant, the heat is dealing with your tummy. So so my husband just made sure, found out that once I take cold water, I just feel better. It just helps that. So every morning when I wake up, I take very cold water. So she was observing me and watching me. She will say, "Who did she keep saying? My daughter, you are pregnant and you're taking cold water. You're supposed to be taking room temperature water." I said, "Yes, ma. Okay, ma." I didn't say anything. So there was one morning she woke up and she greeted me. I said, "Mommy, come. I want to show you something." I put her hand on my tummy and she quickly removed it. She said, "Why is your tummy that hot?" I said, "So now you know why I take cold water." She said, "Hey, okay, don't be taking it, You're actually in order." So again, sometimes they're coming from the place of what they know and what has worked for them. So she had to I had to approach it to make her understand that systems are different. Her system when she was pregnant is different from my system when I was pregnant. And I was able to show her with evidence that it's not like I just want to take cold water. My tummy is like they are cooking a party jollof rice inside it with firewood. So this is why I am doing this thing. And she understood me clearly. And after that day, she never ever approached me to say, "Don't take cold water again." She said, "Have you taken your cold water this morning?"
So she's the one reminding you.
Exactly. So you can see how you can turn them to be your advocate. Especially so if I had just dismissed her, "Why would you tell me that? Do you know what's wrong with me?" Approach always matters, and there's always wisdom. Wisdom is profitable to direct in everything. If I had taken that position of defense, she would never have understood. But I didn't actually tell her what I was going through that day. I waited till the next day. I let that situation breathe. And then I said, "Oh, come." I didn't even tell her what she was coming for. And I put her hand by the side of my tummy and she was like, "Why is your tummy this hot?" So really, you can actually, and guess what? They are your biggest champions, your biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my mother was my biggest cheerleader. She would say, "My daughter." I'll say, "My mommy." She said,
Then drama in the house. Thank you.
My dear, it was a lovely relationship.
Thank you so much. What about Mr. K?
Well, I don't get to get such unsolicited advice often, but I know a case in point where I had a call with my mom and we were kind of having a slight argument over call, even though she doesn't know what she was saying at the time. And I was being firm about, "No, I'm not going to do this." After the call, she's like, "Oh, mommy, you two should be calm with your mommy. Don't be too hard on her." This was I have to sit there. I said, "You know my mom, she's a very hard person. She wants things her own way. Sometimes you need to also be very firm so that you guys can be on the same page. Otherwise, you should still, Grandma, worry. She's not like you. You're a calm person. You understand things quickly. Well, my mama, she's nice. She's cool. You guys, you know what she has."
Honestly, I like this narrative because everybody keeps thinking it is the mother. Your own birth mother can be harder than your mother.
That's a point.
So I really enjoy your narrative, sir. Well done.
No, that's really good. Okay, this question before we round it up. What are some of the red flags to know if your mother-in-law is nice or mean during courtship?
Wow. Oh, again, I think I'll take a cue from Uncle Kayode in when he was talking about the bosses he worked with. You have to study.
How do you study somebody you're not living with or has not lived with you?
See, we have all different types of communication. And we have direct, indirect, verbal, non-verbal. I think one of the things that helped me to build a relationship with my mother-in-law was through storytelling. The stories I had heard from my sister-in-laws, nuclear, extended family, there'll be a consistency in a story. And there will be, if you find inconsistencies, you will know if it's following a certain pattern. And the pattern that I kept hearing, some of the buzzing words were she was a giver. She never turned anybody away from her doorstep. As if you come to my mother-in-law's house hungry, you must go home well fed. So I had consistency in the stories, and they kept building up to a crescendo when I met her. And I could see that it was the stories was actually the reality. So again, I had spoken to her on the phone. I will tell you a very interesting thing. Myself and my sister-in-law's husband are from Ijebu. So imagine two children going to marry from Ijebu.
Okay.
My mother-in-law said it seems like everybody's going to is following one road. Ijebu people must be. And interestingly, her former landlord was an Ijebu person. So for you to see how open her heart was to receiving, wherever you were coming from, she didn't care. Are you a good person or are you a bad person? That was her own principle. That's how she understood it. That was how simple she was. So I heard stories, I spoke with her, I met her in person, and it shaped my understanding of who she was. So you remember, I told you she's a giver. She never turned anybody away from her doorstep hungry. So when she came to my house and she would say, people are around, feed them. It speaks to who she really is. And in my mind, I said, do I have the capacity to feed these people? But my mother-in-law was so interesting that she will send you all the ingredients for soup, for food, everything. All you had to do was cook. Pepper, everything is there for you.
Wonderful.
So she was, with that, I was able to warm my heart towards her, because they call her mother in Israel. And she actually lived out that name. The question I now started asking myself was, can I step, this woman's shoes will be too big for me to fill. And she never made me feel uncomfortable with who I was. I can't say I'm a mother in Israel like her, but it was part of my learning process. You don't leave people's tummy empty. If you have to give, be a giver.
And thank you so much for that input, because I want to ask a question more. Anyway, Mr. K, can we hear from your own side?
Okay, I think for me, in addition to what Madam just said, I think it's super one easy way to also be able to identify a good or bad mother-in-law before marriage or during courtship, as the case may be. Study, like she said. More importantly, every parent, every child is a mirror of their parents. Every child is a mirror of their parents. They might not have everything, they might not mirror exactly everything in their parents, but they have some element of their parents here and there. So one quick thing you can do is to look at all the siblings. As you interact with them, of course, before you get married, you might not interact with all of them, but you have interaction with a couple of them. And for me, for instance, my wife has an elder sister, and that's so two of them. When I look at how they behave, this and how they care and stuff like that, I see genuineness of care, love, and everything, and of course how the much of love that they also that they exhibit, that they give out to people. That actually gives me a false clue to say that definitely the person that gave birth and traded has love, genuine love for people. And secondly, also, you look at, the spiritual side of things. Who is this person? My mother-in-law was an evangelist, recently was ordained a pastor in our church, and she doesn't joke with the things of God. She's always very much, in church activities, and it's not just been about the activities. She believes, she's a very hard believer. She prays a lot and stuff like that. There are moments where she would, even before we got married, a couple of times, call me and say, she'll tell my wife to tell me at the time, I prayed or I was praying and God told me this and that. Can you tell your husband to do this and that's it. So having heard this, having experienced this, he easily just tells me, okay, this can be a bad person in any way. Also, so and of course, also you also praying alongside and getting some spiritual leading will help you to also, just like we say, we have the gift to discern things, to understand, to connect and say, okay, this person will be a good person eventually, and will be a blessing to your family.
Wonderful. What about somebody that have a mother-in-law that's an unbeliever? How do you figure out that side?
Well, if it's an unbeliever, it doesn't still make them a bad person.
Yeah.
So I've seen non-believers that are very wicked, and I've seen non-believers that are very nice. So it's a plus when you have a mother-in-law that is a true believer. A very big plus, but does not still take away if they are not a believer, as long as they have good moral standing and the principles that they believe in and they stand on is not anything unethical, immoral, and otherwise. And I think that should just be the basics, to look at. So that this person is not going to tell their child to go and commit fraud or to go and do anything illegal and stuff like that. And of course, they also, you see love in the family. You see how their family is rolling. I think that should do it for you. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Really answer the question nicely. But one thing before we go, 1 minute each. If your mother-in-law had a talk show, what will she say? Or what will she title the talk show about you?
I think for me, maybe it means, well, God is still working on it.
So that will be the episode.
Yeah.
What about
because I'm not perfect, definitely. I have my own flaws.
So his talk show title will be God is still working on it.
Something like that. It means well, but God is still working on it. So they know definitely that I've got a good heart, and I want to see everybody doing well. I try to mirror as much as what she does, and I think we have similar attributes along that line. But of course, I've got my own little distance too, so that's most likely what it is.
That mother-in-law is dealing with.
Yeah.
I think what my mother-in-law will probably title me as is probably I'm thinking in my head. Really, I think it will still be. I would have said the first word that came to my head was benefit of doubt, like delay judgment. I think that's what my mother-in-law would title me as. And
Delay judgments.
so delay judgment will be my name, because if you come to me and you say this person did something, I would always tell you, we need to delay judgment till we hear what this person has to say. And even if you don't have the opportunity to get what that person has to say, make excuses for the person. Because in you making excuses for that person, you have peace in your heart. You're making excuses is not necessarily for the person, but it's helping you to carry out whatsoever thing is lovely and of good report. You dwell on it. It sprinkles you from an evil conscience. It sprinkles you from, I will show that person. I will do my own back. Because that way, I used to do something to my clients. So when they're a bit cranky or they're snapping or anything, I say, this one has quarreled with his wife at home and he wasn't happy when he left the house. I hope he finds happiness. I hope he finds peace about, this woman, menstrual cycle is worrying her badly. So I make up all those excuses in my head for people. Or maybe this person is in a financial, fix. I hope I hope God just sorts them out. So that way I build myself from that corruption of I will retaliate, I would revenge. And that's the position or the title my mother-in-law gave me, delay judgment.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, wonderful guest. It's nice to host you today. And thank you so much for your call. For people out there that's going to be listening to this,
thank you very much.
All mother-in-laws are bad. It's like we need to, build up our relationship. We need, even, at workplace, you need to be relationship with people. You need to hear things from their own angle, not just, judge them anyhow. So thank you, wonderful guest. And thank you for joining me this wonderful afternoon.
Thank you too. Thank you so much for having me. It was a privilege. Do have a lovely day. God bless you, sir. God bless you, ma.
All right, thank you. So have a lovely day as well.
And you too. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.